Some people say no relationship is a waste of time. You can learn what you want or what you don't want. So there's always something you're gaining from it. And to that, I say, you got me messed up. I ain't feeling it. No way, no how. You are tripping as far as I'm concerned. Here is why. Listen, you better believe there is a such thing as wasted time. All right? And when we start to believe that there is no such thing as wasted time in relationships and dating, then we start to waste our time. We don't start to value it and claim it in a way that allows us to not be robbed of it by someone who doesn't deserve to be in our lives. And more specifically, you as the woman, allowing some man to linger on longer than he should, because it's only going to make matters worse. And listen, it's not that you can't gain something from every relationship, failed or not, good or bad. But there's a point that once you cross, you are now wasting time. So to put it in perspective, if, for example, and I'm just giving a random example, if within the first 2 months, you learn that he's very disrespectful in how he talks to you, all right? And he's unwilling to change that disrespectful way of talking to you. Well, you learned that in 2 months. If you now stay with him for 2 years, you didn't learn anything new after the 2 months. There's no benefit of the extra time you gave this man who was unwilling to change his ways. This is now wasted time. Now listen, I do not say this to make you feel bad. I don't want anyone to beat themselves up if they stayed longer or allowed a man to remain longer than he should. But I want you to acknowledge it for what it is so that you don't continue to make the same mistake. But also, this is why I want you to embrace giving him a deadline in dating. Because we have to be careful with how we allow situations to linger on and understand the ramifications of what happens when it does go longer than it should. So let me lay out the reasons why you need to give him a deadline in dating. The first one, and this might surprise you, but hear me out. The first reason why you need to give him a deadline in dating is because men struggle to let go. Here's what I'm saying with this, all right? Here's one thing let me point out to you. I can't remember the exact number, but I believe that 70%, I think they say 70% of divorces now are initiated by women. I bring that point up because there are people out there, some men, who will use that stat to try to paint women in this horrible light. And I think you can't just take that number and come to a conclusion. You got to go deeper and understand what's going on. And one of the things that I have found is that the reason why the initiation rate is so high on the woman's side is because a lot of men, even when the relationship is toxic, even if he's cheating on her, even if he's abusive, it could be the most horrible relationship, they still won't let her go. They still won't walk away. And so the reason why I'm bringing this point up in regards to giving him a deadline in dating is because if you're waiting for the man to do what is right, you may be waiting forever. All right? And you've got to understand. And I gave a very more extreme or negative situation to paint the picture. But let's just say, for example, it's not toxic. It's a nice relationship, but it's not the right relationship. Well, do you think he's going to let go? If I can't tell you how many times I've seen couples where the man genuinely thinks there's nothing wrong here, but the woman knows or feels the void, feels like it's just not there. She's not truly in love. And so now maybe she has made some attempts to walk away and he fights it and she feels guilty. So she continues on with him. Either way, whether it's good, whether it's bad, the point is men struggle to let go. And so now you cannot wait for him to pull the trigger. You cannot wait for him to decide when this has gone on too far. Not to mention, because men struggle to let go, or let's also add the fact that some men are just going to take advantage and use you, they don't see a reason to let go. They don't want to, because in a lot of situations, not all, but there are many situations where even when she is unhappy, she is giving the man what he desires. So he does not see a need to walk away. And so again, in dating you, he will drag this out, whether it's in the form of boyfriend, girlfriend, whether that's taking it as far as marrying you and you not declining because maybe you're happy just to get married, whatever it is. There's so many things we can talk about here. But the point is, he may not ever do it. And so you have to take that responsibility of recognizing, okay, what's my cutoff point for when I realize this is either not the right relationship? And I would argue that, listen, for a lot of you ladies, you know it pretty fast when it's not the right relationship. Your intuition, it speaks to you. Maybe God is speaking to you, both. And something is telling you from the jump. But again, too many women try to rationalize past that. The sooner you embrace it, the better. But regardless, even if we leave for the sake of maybe some of you don't feel like you hear from your intuition or don't hear God, okay, fine. You still need to identify where there's that breaking point before you actually break, all right? That you're going to say, okay, this has gone on long enough. Especially when it comes to just dating, when we're not even taking it to that next level of commitment. But I feel the need to say this right now. Him being willing to commit to you in an official relationship or him even marrying you does not wash away all the wrongs in the relationship. It doesn't automatically make things better. So if the relationship is still toxic, if there's still all these problems, you can't say, well, now he's willing to commit, so maybe things will get better. No, they should have got better before y'all entered into the official commitment. And if we cannot properly address and resolve them in advance of that, we should not continue. And if he's unwilling to do that work in advance, then he needs to go. So to get back to the point, and so we can move along on this list, and let me add one more thing, because even with marriage, I have tons of stories. I won't go into them right now, but I have tons of stories of men who married the woman even though they were not in love with the woman. Married out of obligation. Some married because the woman essentially proposed and he didn't know how to say no. Like I had one guy flat out tell me I only got married because I was too afraid to say no. You know, and in that scenario, she didn't officially propose to him, but she kind of put it out there like, listen, we got to get married or this can't continue. And he didn't know how to, again, let go. So he moves along, but he was unhappy and it was unfulfilling. And then eventually there was a divorce, you know, and to go back to that earlier point about 70% of women, what happens is, though a lot of women struggle to let go as well, especially the longer things drag on, the more of an investment she's made, I would argue that there is a greater chance of her reaching a breaking point to where she simply can't take it anymore. Not that this doesn't happen with men, but I see it happen quicker with women. And quicker could be for her, it took her 10 years, and for him, it would have took him 20 years. It's still quicker, all right? But let's keep moving along on this list. Hey, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to check this one out right here, and I'll see you there. Let's get to it. The first thing not to do is give him money or gifts. Now, here's the thing. When I say not to do it, I want to make this very clear. And this is going to apply to all the three